Click subscribe, do all that. You know what time it is. It's Netflix time. This movie's called Bullethead. After a daring heist, three fugitives lock themselves inside of a warehouse, hoping to evade the police but find a worse threat as they fight to stay alive. So it's another thriller movie that came out 2017, about an hour and a half long. Spoiler alert, let's get it. So we start off with these two guys walking into a ring, and they're getting a dog ready for a dog fight. So I guess Antonio Banderas has been training dogs. Next thing you know, we see this car coming around to this warehouse, and it crashes straight into the building. They got this safe in the car. You got these three guys, Gage, Walker, and Stacy. There was a fourth man named Eddie, but he died in the car. Hence why the car crashed into the building in the first place. So basically, now these niggas chilling in the warehouse. They talk to this guy about the safe that they got in the car. Stacy tells them it takes a day to crack it. So I guess the guy's gonna meet up with him either today or tomorrow or something. So apparently this guy with the red hoodie by the name of Gage fucked up the mission because he stopped by the pharmacy. Yeah, this guy likes to do dope. He usually does this when he wakes up, but he decided to do it during the mission. They was thinking about all the money they could have made, so apparently something went terribly wrong while doing this robbery. So at this point, yeah, there's tension within the crew. Then we get this flashback to Stacy before the robbery, and apparently he had a girlfriend at one point in time. I guess he was doing this for her too. And Walker starts telling his story about his first robbery. Talks about how he didn't have money on Christmas. Somebody told him to crack a safe in the spot and it was supposed to have like $5,000 in it, but there was no money in it. Turns out the guy that ran the store was also a gambler. He was gambling on horse bets and shit. So the story was about to rob some type of pet store. All I had was dogs and fish, so considering, he said, I'm gonna get some fish. Then he thought to himself, fuck this, I'm not doing all this just to get one goddamn fish. So he went through there and scooped out a bunch of fish. All because he wanted his daughter to have a good Christmas. But then he woke up to his daughter screaming in agony. So while she's screaming, turns out all the fish died. The only fish that didn't die was the one he got at the beginning, a yellow tropical fish. Turns out back then he didn't realize that some of the fish he snatched up were freshwater fish or saltwater fish. And you know you can't put saltwater fish in a freshwater tank. Meanwhile, Gage is in his bag, probably trying to find some drugs or something. He's checking to see if the water works, which it doesn't. He looks through the lockers and tries to find anything. That's when you realize this could have been like a boxing gym or something. Then he goes exploring, looking down the hallways, and what the fuck does he see right here? Then we get a flashback to Antonio Banderas again, and we don't know if the dog won or lost the fight against the two other dogs, but it might have been injured badly, who knows. Either way, they end up putting it down. And it sounds like the most inhumane way possible. But apparently the dog fought back because his arm was pretty fucked up. But as he's taping his arm up, we hear a dog in the distance. I don't know what he sees, but I feel like something happened to him. So once again, what the heck is Gage looking at? Stacy and Walker find him, and now they're seeing what he's seeing, but what the heck are they seeing? This guy's body torn to fucking shreds. Yeah, that guy's the dun-dun-dun, and the dog is sitting there like, oh shit. This dog looks like a goddamn death machine. Yo, he's been through some shit. Yup, time for y'all to get the fuck out. So they were lucky to get away. They locked themselves in his room. So they're talking about trying to get the fuck out of here. But then Walker says Stacy already talked to the dude Zaza. They know he's here. They gotta be there with the safe, all this other stuff. This nigga said, fuck the dog. He's still trying to go back out there and get his drugs. I'm like, Gage, are you fucking retarded? They get to beef and Stacy knocks him out by accident. Then all of a sudden something's leaking in through the door. It doesn't look like blood. So you're like, what the hell is that? Then we get to see Antonio Banderas and the dude again. So apparently the flashback scenes are everything that happened yesterday. And they're bringing this one dog, which just happens to be the dog they've been running from. Then while Gage is knocked out, Stacy tells Walker about his story. It's called the truffle story. Let's just call it that. He tells him about some kilos of dope and money he had buried. And Stacy says he loves dogs, but Walker's like, I thought you were more of a cat person. Then he gives this explanation of why he became a dog person. So he gives this explanation about this security guard that was always asleep on the job. Then he talks about doing this job at this fish market in this Korean place. And the money and the kilos he was looking for is buried out somewhere. So he has to find a special type of dog that'll pick up the scent to be able to get this shit. And he talks to this guy that happens to have two truffle dogs. The one dog didn't really like him too much, so he's like, what about the other dog? And get this, the other dog is basically like a fucking poodle. So he's going back and forth for like a half an hour trying to sniff out these little areas, hopefully making sure that security guard doesn't wake up. And just when he thought he was being conned, that poodle found the shit. As he was taking out the cases, the security guard woke up, and the craziest thing happened. The security guard got scared off by the fucking poodle. I don't know if he's just scared of dogs, period, or what. And that's why he instantly became a dog lover. Walker's like, come on, you don't get the fuck out of here with that shit. Stacy's like, yeah, I wouldn't have believed that shit either, but this really happened. Then they look back and see Gage is gone. Apparently he went through this hole on the second floor of the room. And it's weird, there's a lot of holes that look just like this in this building. Of course, he don't give a fuck about the dog. He's about to go right back in that room and try to get his drugs. Yep, the body's still laying there. He gets his bag, goes in a different room and gets furred. Then he starts seeing this rabbit, which I'm pretty sure he's either hallucinating, as Stacy's calling out for Gage. They look out the window, see a cop car done pulled up. They brought out the canine, started inspecting the place. Then another car rolls up. So Stacy's thinking to herself, Gage done fucked us. Two cop cars pull up. They're trapped in a room running for a big ass dog. They don't know what to do at this point. That one policeman with the canine still searching around the area. Right behind them is that crazed dog. Oh shit. Other policemen outside inspecting stuff and they don't see nothing and they about to roll out. Then they start talking strategy. Cause when they looked out there, I guess they noticed the van or something. So what they're gonna do is get the keys off the guy that got eaten. Take that van, get the safe out their car, chill in there, wait for their mans to come, and then they can roll out. Meanwhile, this motherfucker Gage finally comes back to the door. Then he gets attacked by a damn dog, and now he's loose in the room. They got out the room somehow, closed the door behind them, but this dog's kind of smart. This dog makes it to the second floor to the hole is at so they can climb out. I'm like, wow. Fuck, exactly. They somehow drag his goofy ass to another room, and they make it to the other room before the dog does. Then we get a flashback scene of the dog being used in another fight, and they got him fighting this Siberian Russian dog. We don't see what happens, but I'm pretty sure he ended up giving them the business. Take his word for it, dog. So anyway, they patching up his arm, which Gage's arm is completely furred. Now it's time for Gage to tell his story. So when he was little, he talked about this dog he saved that was out on the road. His leg was completely messed up, so he carried him in a wheelbarrow. His dad was a drinker. He didn't give a fuck about none of this shit. So he hid the dog in the tool shed because he knew his father was that's the last place he would go at this point. Like I said, he was drinking heavy at this point. When he would go to school, he would take extra lunch and put it in his pocket so he could feed to his dog when he got home. After school was over, he did save up enough money for the dog, but only for like a week. Got to the point where he was trying to steal dog food. So one day he knew he was going to get punished, but he didn't care. He took a block of hamburger from the fridge. He knew his father was going to be pissed off, especially because they didn't really have a whole lot to eat back then. But he was going to give it to the dog, but when he got to the shed one day, he turns around and looks up. His father was in the shed too. His dad proceeded to get a big ass hammer and finished off his dog. Damn, that's a sad ass story. So after that, Stacy's back to talking to Zaza about the safe. And Walker's looking at all these posters on the wall. A bunch of pictures of this chick. But anyway, he puts his hole in the finger or whatever like that in the door. And it opens up to this room. They turn the lights on. And there's a lot of money in this room. So you know somebody's about to be back for this shit. They say, hell, that's a lot more than what we breaking in. So if they're going to take it, they might as well take that shit now. After that, they come back to check on Gage. But I think Gage is done deal dead. He just shot up again. Yeah, they checked his pulse. He's gone. So now it's just Stacy and Walker. Then we get this flashback to where Stacy was supposed to meet up with his girlfriend because she was going on a plane trip somewhere. He told her he was going to meet her out there, but she's like, look, I ain't going to wait for you if you don't come on time. So I guess when he finally got there, she wasn't there. Come to find out when all this happened, this was like 5 years ago. So I guess throughout all this time, Walker's been holding in an injury, and god damn, the side of his stomach is furred. Stacy's about to call the ambulance. Walker's like, man, get the fuck out of here with these. We ain't doing that shit. He's like, look, man, just take the van, take the money, and go. You know what I'm saying? You got something to get to. I really don't. He's like, look, I'm gonna get that van key. I'm coming back for you, goddammit. You can tell they built up a relationship over time. Then we get a flashback scene from yesterday to where this dog is sitting in a tub of water. He soaks him on down, and then he proceeds to put fucking jumper cables on his neck. How the fuck did this dog survive this shit? Stacey, I know you're trying to get the key, but I don't think you want to fuck with this dog at all. Well, anyway, he goes back to the spot where he found that guy in the locker room, but his body's not there. He follows the trail of blood that takes it right into that dog torture chamber room. He finds a mother at a table, gets the keys, but as he gets the keys, he's looking out the corner of his eye. He sees all these other dogs that have been tortured through here. It's like, ugh. And then the big one pops up out the blue. Oh, shit. And the chase is on. Chases him into a spot where there's a bunch of buses at. He goes through this maze of boxes. He gets trapped in an area where there's nothing but this piano behind him. So he hides inside the piano. Now look at this visual. This dog is literally 10 feet away from him at this point. So the dog's about to dip off he can't find, but then a drop of sweat hits the fucking piano, which proceeds to hit the ground after that. Yeah, he heard it. So this dog starts charging into the piano. You're like, oh shit. He gets this running head start, so you thinking to yourself, Stacy's about to die. Run straight into it, the piano breaks. Stacy's knocked out, you think he's pretty much done deal, right? Turns out the force of the other side of the piano landed on the dog and he's stuck in it. Now he could have just left done deal, but then he hears him whimpering. He's like, man, fuck. So he saves him pretty much thinking it is what it is at this point. But instead he doesn't attack him, he just goes about his business. He saved his life, he showed compassion. So he goes back to get Walker. They got the money, they find the van. They open the big door, and as they're about to dip out, a car pulls up, and it ain't Zaza, it's Tonio Banderas. And if you guessed that was his money, you guessed right. He ain't asked no questions, he's shooting. Walker takes the bullets from him, he ends up dying. Then he goes back to the car, comes out with this automatic thing and starts to lacing. Then Stacy gets to the spot where he's pretty much trapped, he sees these 3 boats. So we're thinking to ourselves, as Antonio is too, he's probably hiding in one of those 3 boats. So he starts telling this story about dogs and stuff. He shoots up all 3 boats, but he wasn't in none of them. He was able to crawl out. Then Stacy runs to the spot where there's this big ass hole. Yeah, you're pretty much trapped, sir. You already know what time it is. But this nigga Stacy ends up falling backwards anyway. The bullet missed and popped a hole in the bag. Turns out he fell into some water down below. He swims to a different location but loses the person in the process. Self-preservation. He somehow ends up in the dog-fighting area, the place that we saw at the beginning of the movie. But Antonio catches up to him and shoots him in the stomach. Pretty much defenseless, Antonio tells him another story. He basically telling him a story about how he took the dog in. Then right when he's about to finish Stacy off, he turns around for a second. Then we get the flashback to him when he was a puppy. Homeless out in the streets and Antonio took him in. They never gave him a name. I'm going to assume his name is Bullethead because that's the only reason to call this movie Bullethead. Back in real time, Antonio saw Bullethead. He's down there with the rest of them. He sees Stacy fucked up, and he's about to finish him off. Then Bullethead attacks Antonio. Antonio's done deal dead as shit, but he did get a couple shots off on Bullethead, and Bullethead was done deal dead as shit. So we're trying to figure out, is Stacy gonna be done deal too? Then we get the scene on the beach somewhere where we see Stacy's girlfriend. Then in the distance, we see Stacy with a little puppy. Because that's what he promised to get her whenever he saw her again. So yeah, looking at the premise of this movie, I don't understand why it's called Bullethead. Especially when we got a movie out there called Bullet to the Head, thinking of some Sylvester Stallone shit, right? Well, anyway, Bullethead on Netflix. Check it out, like, click, subscribe, do all that. You know what time it is. Like, easy on the easy best. Nah, big. You got that slogan.